to be honest, no one's telling me to get up every day. No one's telling me when to stop working every day. And so that's up to me. So I liked coming on a team that had high accountability because it allows me to be the best I can be.
Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for joining in and listening. I have a special guest today, is Liz Gregg. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining. So, Liz is I think Liz is the first agent guest we've had on the show. So, number one, exciting. But there's a really specific reason why I wanted to bring Liz, because most of our listeners are real estate agents, right? Or wanting to become real estate agents. And as this grows, I think that's bleeding out into more of the community in different areas. And I hope all of your clients get to hear and see this too. I'm sure you'll be sharing it. But Liz has done something extraordinary in this month. We're in the month of May right now, and 1 year almost with our team. Almost 1 year with our team. We're coming up on it. You were in the business a little bit before us, but 1 year with the Edrington team, and you have 12 closings this month. Yes. Congratulations. Can I get a high five?
Thank you.
This is awesome. This is awesome. 12 deals. So, first year agent on the team, 12 deals in 1 month. How? How does that come to fruition? Or I'm sure you have a lot to unpack here, but probably how does it feel?
Feels pretty great. I would hope that my clients would be shocked at that number because I want them to feel like they're the only client. So I pride myself in giving a lot of personal service.
Sure.
Building that relationship with my clients.
It shows because people keep coming back. That's awesome. So, and what I think is really cool about Liz's business is that I was looking, I don't know if you know this or not, I was looking at stats before we came onto the show, and I was just saying, okay, how has Liz done in the past 12 months? And you have managed to do what is appropriate for a real estate team, and that's have a really healthy, balanced business. I think you're like 55% team leads. That means, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, the team's investment from branding, from marketing, from online lead generation has created the opportunity and said, here, Liz, go convert it. And then about 45% of your business has been from your sweat equity, your work, the relationships that you've built that isn't due to the team saying, here's a lead. So it's a healthy balance. We try to strive for around that 50-50 mark, give or take a little, and you're doing it already in your first year. Usually it takes years for people to get to that. They're usually leaning on the team leads like 90% for their first 3 years. So way to kick it off really good.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so I know you got a list of things here that we want to share with people, but I think what's important first before we get into that is how you got started in real estate, where you came from, because I think it's a really interesting story that is helpful for a lot of people out there that are saying, hey, I'm in this career because I loved it and I want to get into it, but it's not going to allow me to reach the goals that I want. And some people feel trapped like that. And so I don't know if that's you or not, but how did you move? Tell them your background and how you got to where you're at today.
So I was a teacher prior to this and I absolutely loved it. Extremely rewarding career. My hat's off to any educator. They give endlessly. I always had to have a part-time job. Always.
In addition to teaching?
Teaching, yes. So I always had to do swimming lessons on the side or tutoring. Always worked in the summers. So I was actually used to hustling. And although I love teaching, I love the relationships with students and with other teachers and with parents and families, and really having that impact. I was missing the financial piece. And so I decided, hey, let me give this a try. And I did it part-time for a year, and I didn't even really know if I would be good at it. And I did a little bit, and so I actually was very rewarding. Someone who never even thought they could buy a home, I showed them a path. So one of my first clients was actually a teacher. And so I hounded her a little bit, and not to be salesy, but just to show her that all the years that she paid in rent, gobs and gobs of years, and how she can now put that towards a home and have equity in a home and have some family wealth.
Yeah.
So that was one of what was probably my second actual client, but my first personal client that I felt like I made a difference for her whole family.
Yeah, and that was the year before you joined the Edrington team, right?
Yes.
So, maybe close to 2 years ago, and I would bet that person already has so much equity in their house.
Yeah.
It's almost unfair how for the people that don't own a home right now, because there are people that rent and can afford to purchase, and they just don't recognize it. They don't realize it. And then there's people that get educated, and it's either by their own will of saying, I want to figure this out, or meeting someone like Liz that says, hey, let me teach you about this. And they bought a home 2-3 years ago. I mean, there are people that bought homes for $200,000 just a couple years ago, and their houses are worth $300,000-$400,000, almost double in some cases, depending on the part of town and a couple different things. But it's almost unfair to those people. So you were in education, now you're in real estate, but you're kind of still in education though, right? It's one of the things I'm really excited about Liz that she's been doing is she is still leveraging and educating the educational world, right?
Right.
So tell them about that.
So, if you're a teacher in education world, it's really difficult to just even get a break. If you're in the regular world, you go, okay, I'm going to clock out and go have lunch. Teachers don't have that luxury. They always have their kids. They always have responsibilities. It's difficult to even go to the snack machine or even to take a bathroom break. So I have really partnered with some principals that want to love on their teachers and appreciate them. And so I just started doing a happy cart and going.
She told me about this. I'm like, a happy cart. So I'll never forget the day you sat down. You were like, we sat down here, we had a one-on-one, and she was like, I think I want to start doing a happy cart for a teacher. I'm like, a what? What's a happy cart?
Well,
and so,
if you give a teacher a Coke Zero and a bag of Doritos and, they're happy, anything.
Yeah.
They're very appreciative. And so I give them some flyers and let them know that I'm available. But that really turned into something further that I've been able to do with several schools is to educate them and hold some buyer workshops there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's all voluntary, but I've had people who maybe are teachers that have their own home, but are interested in, what do I do with the equity in my home?
Mm-hmm.
Could I get an investment property? What would I do with that money? Or maybe they want to renovate,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they just want a better, different house, and they just have a lot of questions. And then, just like we talked about before, rent versus buy, when you put that down in numbers, because I was also a math coach my last 4 years. So I love math, I love data, and putting it down in black and white is very eye-opening in the money that you're giving your landlord, that you're never getting back.
Yeah.
Never getting back.
So let me break this down here just so we're all on the same page. This idea started as a happy cart with one school. And so literally you have a cart and you've got goodies on it, and you're going from classroom to classroom and giving some love to the teachers, giving a little information if they're interested. And then how many schools is this going on with now that you're doing?
I'm currently doing 4.
4 different schools that
yeah.
she's been working with. And then you started the workshops, right? Workshops started with teachers. Even parents came, right?
Yes, I did some for parents. Even was successful in helping one parent find a home.
Yep. And then the next level that I was really excited about when she brought to me was she said, I want to make a book. I want to make a book to start teaching the children. We've all said, I wish what was the thing we heard the other day? It was like, I'm really glad I learned about parallelograms because it really is helpful during parallelogram season. It's like, what do you do with that? But when it comes to like taxes and owning a home and relationships and all these different things that we have to deal with as adults, they don't teach that in class. So Liz took it upon herself to build a book, and it started with draft 1 and draft 2. And I don't know which draft you're on now, but it's such a great book. What ages is this book geared to?
So this book is really for like upper elementary. So I'd say 4th, 5th grade. So that's ages 9 to 10.
Okay.
And then middle school. And then I'm going to take that and really make like a teacher version so that can go into the classroom and a teacher can pick that up and teach their class. Because obviously I'd love to go teach a lot of classes, but I'm also busy doing real estate.
Right. This is your side hustle to give back, but also an opportunity at the same time. So you're getting to make an impact, but you're also getting paid for it when the opportunity comes around. And so what's in this book for these kids, just to give a couple ideas so people understand?
So one of the things is rent versus buy. And that kind of breaks it down for students. And really, students learn a whole lot of math, and they don't really know that it applies in real life. So that's a big aspect of the book as well, in how it applies in real life. And they're going like, oh, we get to use this. And this applies in my future and how I can help my future family, or they could even take it home and teach their parents.
That's awesome. Well, if someone's watching this or listening to this and is interested and say, hey, could I get a book for my kid, my children, my classroom, whatever it may be, they can reach out to you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm in the process right now where I'm really wanting feedback. Not just from teachers, but from other parents, grandparents, anyone that's really interested in real estate education. Yeah. Because that's what it boils down to. Because, you know, when you leave the nest, you've got to make big decisions that will impact your future.
Absolutely. Well, it's impressive. You've done a great job with the teacher side of your business. So let's shift over to, I'm curious about the team side of the business. Okay. So the Edrington team specifically. What's been your experience being on the Edrington team? Good, bad, ugly? Because I run into people all the time, and they're always asking, so like, what's it like on a team? Am I stripped of myself? Am I just a minion now? Or like, am I fed a bunch of opportunity? Or what's the split like? Like, when someone comes up and asks you those questions, you know, what's the general idea that you're explaining to them and how it's benefited you specifically?
So, you know, I did coaching as well when I was a teacher, so I know that I really know the impact that coaching can have on an individual, and really just helps a teacher or a real estate agent, whoever, live up to their highest potential. And so it's that high accountability that this team has. So in the beginning, I had really high accountability, and I met with a coach, a lot of times once a week, and then I met with a mentor group another time. So I had an individual coaching, is also small group coaching. So always high accountability, because to be honest, no one's telling me to get up every day. No one's telling me when to stop working every day. And so that's up to me. So I liked coming on a team that had high accountability, because it allows me to be the best I can be.
That's awesome. What about, so we mentioned that, you know, the team generates a lot of opportunity for you as well. One of the things I know you wrote down here that you are absolutely great at is building relationships, leveraging relationships within the industry. When it comes to just, you know, what is a relationship to you, and how do you develop those relationships with your customers, and also how do you leverage them for the people within the industry for your customers? Give us a little insight to like how that's evolved since you've joined the team, and what you see, especially doing 12 deals in a month. You know, you also got to juggle a lot of relationships, right?
Absolutely. I do. Relationships are the utmost important. So developing that relationship with my client is extremely important. And so one is just being a really good listener, like helping the client reach their financial house goal. And that might not start off right away. That might be a 10-year goal. So just being a part of that is, I find, very important. So I also want to align the right people. So that means aligning the correct lenders that are going to help them, the right home inspectors, and also being able to leverage my relationships with other realtors, which I've obviously been in the process of building.
Sure.
But if you are kind and assertive when you need to be, then all of that comes back to you.
Yeah.
And just really education.
I don't think the consumers out there realize how important it is that you have a well-connected agent, but not just well-connected, but also well-respected and well-liked to some level as well, too, because we're still in a world of multiple offers, not all the time, but often, right? And especially for our first-time home buyers, because they're competing against everybody. First-time home buyers are competing against other first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers are competing against investors wanting to buy the same properties they want to buy. I can't tell you how many deals we see where parents are buying homes for their children and leveraging their children as their investment. There's just so many different scenarios out there. And when Liz sends out an offer on a property and another agent's involved representing the seller, and they got 10 other offers at the same time, that sea of sameness across the paperwork starts to look very similar, right? It's like, okay, these 7 offers suck. These 3 offers right here all look really good, and they're very similar. And so then the listing agent may decide, or the seller receiving the offer may ask the questions of, okay, to their agent, who is most likely to get to the finish line? Because right now it's just a piece of paper. There's, you could put ink on paper, and next thing you know, it makes you feel good, but who can get it through lending? Who can get through the home inspection? Who can actually get it to the closing table? And so having the right relationships with someone like Liz has been great, because you're building up the experience, you're getting to know more people, but you're also leverage the team too, right? What do you do in a situation where you have an offer, you're going out to another agent, but you don't know that listing agent? Because there's a lot of agents out there. I don't know all the agents out there.
Yeah. Well, one thing I really love about our team is we stay connected. So if I don't have a relationship with them, one of my other teammates will as well. So I can also leverage that. Yeah,
call up your you call up Ginger and say, hey, Ginger, I know you have a relationship with this person. You've done a deal. How did it go? Did it go well? Do you feel like you guys bonded over that contract? And say, hey, I need you to make the phone call and presenting this offer, because that goes a long way, opposed to like a stranger calling, right? And we're all strangers until we're not.
Right.
And so relationships are key, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What else do you want your consumer to know? Your future consumers to know? Like what's important to you that you think they need to know right now?
So, knowing the market, honestly, Doug, I feel is very important. And that goes in how you present an offer. What do you want to offer? What should you offer? Understanding the market, understanding what the houses are worth around you, and knowing your inventory. And I think that has been a big key to my success in having like 12 deals in a month, because I've seen a whole lot of houses, and it's low inventory right now, but I know a lot about the inventory personally in certain areas.
You've been in a ton of homes.
A ton of homes, because people aren't going to buy their first home. But
the first one they see.
That's right. They're not going to buy the first one
Rarely
they see.
Does that happen.
But if Joe goes in and sees a home, it might not be perfect for him, but it might be perfect for Sally, who I'm also helping. Yeah. So, and you have to kind of be quick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So any good stories come to mind? Like just, your favorite customer or your most craziest scenario, anything that will help enlighten people of like, would you go through on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I have had some amazing stories this month.
You could write a book.
I definitely
and not just like
could.
the kids' book, but like
I definitely could. But I think too, the meaning of what finding a home is. So it's not just 12. Each of them have a very personal story that I've been so blessed to be a part of. So just for this purpose, I'll name him Joe. So Joe has, had a rough childhood growing up. Parents were drug addicts, and you hope that you can break that path, and one way you can really break that path is through some financial stability. And instead of throwing all of your money away on rent and actually building that family wealth. So Joe came to me and was so excited about that first home. And at the home, I just pulled out a buyer's timeline and kind of educated, him and his fiance. And they were super excited. Set them up with a lender, and guess what, Doug?
They qualified.
They did not qualify.
Oh, they didn't qualify.
They did not qualify.
And this is where the story begins.
Yes.
Right?
So, but you know what? That's okay, because I love to send my clients to people who are not just going to either qualify or not qualify and throw them out the window, but really guide them into, if I don't qualify now, what do I have to do to get there? And so Joe went home. He did everything that lender asked him to do, and it could be pay this credit card off and do this. And so he worked on his credit and building his score up and being financially ready. It could mean saving more money for that down payment. So when Joe was ready, and of course I stayed in touch with Joe, and I want to be as big of a cheerleader for someone in that situation as well. So about 6 months later, Joe was ready, and we actually found a foreclosure. So those are rare right now. We went through.
You mean you found the only one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went through that process, and he is going to have a new home. And I think one of the most meaningful things is he said, Liz, you have no idea what this means to me and my family. This is something that I never thought would happen. And so that makes it all worth it.
It's funny, and it's not funny really, but it's inspiring, I think, that as real estate agents, the stories that are most memorable come from failure. And I don't mean necessarily your failure or my failure, although we have lots of those stories too. Yeah. It's even our clients. Those are the ones that keeps you up at night, wants to help figure things out, wakes you up in the morning and says, I've got to accomplish X, Y, and Z. Hold this client accountable to doing what's best for them to help them get there. Because the easy ones, I'm sure not all 12 were slam dunks this month, but the easy ones, they kind of come and go, and you don't think too much about it. It's just kind of a cog in the wheel on some level, right? But then the ones that you really impact and help like this are the stories that you get to share with the next person, and it continues to create that domino effect of actually changing people's lives versus just being transactional. Don't you think?
And sometimes I talk them out of a home, and I know that sounds crazy.
No. It may sound crazy to consumer, thinking salespeople would say don't buy a home, but no. I mean, we also don't want to be the real estate agents that are like, hey, oh gosh, I see him at Publix, I got to hide on aisle 5 because I screwed somebody in aisle 6. That's not the world we want to be in. We want to actually help people. So yeah, talking people out of houses is a lot of what we do sometimes, because if you think of, I'm going to use Joe here hypothetically, using air quotes, Joe could get excited about a home on a crazy hill with a crazy driveway that has a weird floor plan, but it fits exactly what Joe wants because it has a big garage, for example. And that may make Joe warm and fuzzy, but at the same time, when he goes to sell that house later, he could be stuck with something that no one else wanted but him, and that could be a bad situation. So oftentimes we do have to talk him out of houses and help him see we're your realtor for life. We're along this long journey with you, and the last thing we want to do is sell you a house that you're stuck with, because life happens. Death, divorce, diamonds, diapers, all the D's they say, all of those things happen. And there could be a day where you're like, you know what? I need to sell fast, or I want to sell quickly so I can jump on the next opportunity. And if you had a professional or lack of lead you into the wrong direction just to get a sale, that could hurt.
Yeah. I don't think I would want someone who would talk me into any home just for the sale.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want people to know how to contact Liz, but at the same time, how do people actually find you? Like, there's a lot of ways that strangers end up working with you. Mm-hmm. How does that come to fruition?
So we have a website. People can find me there.
Mm-hmm.
Can find me on Google. They can contact me directly.
Okay, so and here's what I'm thinking. I'm leading Liz into a question here, so I might help out because I think that this is really important. Consumers find their real estate agents all different ways. Through referrals, now these days through research, generally review-based, right? But they also just call off of signs, or they click the button on Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com or whatever it may be, and they don't always land with the right agent because they don't know any better, right? So advising a consumer right now who's thinking about making a move, of course we'd love for them to land with us and our team, but we may not be the fit for everybody. What's the best coaching or advice to tell someone to how to find an agent versus just calling off of a sign and it be the luck of the draw of whoever answers?
I would interview them. I think that's important to find the right fit. So absolutely.
And that may seem like a wild concept to consumers for some reason, because it's kind of like when you walk into a car dealership and you want to buy a car, you wouldn't think to interview the car salesman if you want to work with this person or not. Gosh, I would, even buying a car these days, because you don't know what you're about to get involved in.
Because it's a long process.
But real estate's a long process.
Yeah.
The average consumer takes 18 months from first thinking about making a move to actually closing on their home. And that's a long process. So I highly recommend start with an interview. And you may say, well, I've never interviewed someone before. Don't think of it as an interview. Just think of it as a first date, right? Like, okay, who are you? What did you do before this? Why are you in real estate? Why are you the person that should help represent me? What does your support look like? Just ask what seems logical to me, but whatever's logical to you. Ask those questions to think what could go wrong. You might even ask them, what could go wrong, and how are you going to help me through that? Because there's a lot of things that can go wrong because we're dealing with people. If you think of potentially two agents, buyers and sellers, sometimes those are couples, sometimes there's family involved. Then there's a department of lenders, right? There's the loan officer and the processor and the underwriter and multiple people involved there. Then you've got insurance, then you've got home inspections, then you've got appraisers, you got a title company. Like, real estate deals are sticky. And I think that's why it hasn't gotten to the place where it's like buying a Tesla where you just click the button and, it shows up at your front step. The world hasn't figured that out. They may figure it out one day. I don't know. But right now it's not figured out yet. So interviewing people to figure out how are you going to deal with those challenges, because very few real estate deals go just perfectly. A lot of them our customers think they go perfectly, but behind the scenes, we're putting out fires left and right all the time because we're dealing with people. The best part of our industry, right?
Yeah, actually, I closed one this past week that didn't go smoothly behind the scenes. My clients didn't know, but the sellers were getting, I guess, cold feet, should we say. Waited a long time before they wanted to go find their next home. And then they find themselves in a situation where, we're
about to be homeless.
We're about to be homeless. Well, my clients are sold a home, they're buying a home, so they have a timeline as well, and this seller's getting cold feet. So I just brought out the contract and, really read the law to remind them that
she sounds
you're
so
under
nice
a contract.
right now, but I bet she pulled out the guns and she was like, listen
sometimes you have to.
Yeah. And it's not that we would keep anything from a consumer that could potentially harm them. We want them to know what's going along the way. But I mean, every day there could be something new, like a seller getting cold feet. And if we can diffuse the situation, inform the customer of what's going on, of like, hey, here's what happened. We diffused it. We're still moving forward. Or sometimes it's not even necessary. It just depends on the situation. Right. We got to cater each relationship a little bit differently. So, well, Liz, thank you for joining the podcast. I hope you had fun. It's fun for me. if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I give out my cell number.
Go for it.
So 706-313-5477.
Yeah.
That'll reach me directly. And listen, try me out. See if I answer my phone. So
Perfect.
If I don't answer it, I get right back.
Yeah. And if you look up Liz Gregg on Facebook, Instagram,
Right.
Our website, if you happen to get a hold of someone in our company and you want to talk directly to Liz, just ask our team. They'll make the connection. So, Liz, thanks again. Congratulations on your 12 units this month. I know you've got bigger months ahead of you, which sounds wild, but it's coming. And thanks for joining. This was fun. You guys make sure you tune in to the next podcast. Please like, subscribe, and I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are.